Hey, thanks for joining me. I'm Cathy Mann, founder and president of the Fundraising Lab. I want to chat with you today about the importance of developing a fundraising plan. And I want to share an opportunity with you. So let's set the stage. Why bother planning? You may work in a small to mid-sized charity. Maybe you're the sole fundraiser, or maybe you have a colleague that helps you. Or maybe you do fundraising and communications under one role, or maybe you're the executive director and you're doing it all. Whatever the case may be, it's your job to meet your fundraising target each year. And how do you do that? You write a fundraising plan. Some of us can wing it and meet the target at the end of the year, but it doesn't help the organization to not have it written down somewhere. Some of us put it in the budget and we kind of have an idea of how it's going to play out. In effect, the budget is your de facto fundraising plan. But the only way to dedicate your efforts to meeting that year-end goal is to plan it out. And how do you start? You start by thinking about the following questions. What fundraising initiatives are you currently using that are working? What fundraising things are you doing that maybe aren't working so well and need to be dropped or adjusted? Is there something you'd like to incorporate new in this coming year? Do you want to add a major gifts program or do more intentional digital marketing? And if you're looking to bring on additional staff, what revenue do you need to bring in over and above your target to cover that salary? And what about the budget? What's the revenue split between each initiative? What will each cost to run? So what's the value of a fundraising plan? Well, if you answer all those questions as you're crafting your fundraising plan, it's important to have all of your initiatives mapped out. Whether you do direct mail, special events, foundation grants, the list goes on, it's all together. Now, developing a plan takes time and focus, and you need to put a lot of thought into it. You need to be strategic, you need to see the big picture, but you also need to see and understand the details. When you dedicate that time, you'll come to understand what you're currently doing that's working well, what needs to be improved upon, maybe what you need to stop doing because it's not working. So that's all fine and dandy, but why do you need to do that in the context of a fundraising plan? So that you focus your time and effort on the things that will give you the biggest bang for the buck. So let's break this down. Why do you need a budget? Now you got your plan, why a budget? Why do we have to crunch numbers? Well, we need to project how much we'll raise and what it will cost to raise it, because the ultimate goal is that your revenue is higher than your expenses. And why is that? So the formula is revenue minus expenses equals net revenue. Why do you need net revenue? Why do you need to know what net revenue is? Because it can be invested in carrying out the mission of your organization. Now that is important enough that I'm going to say it again, but a little bit differently. You need to accurately confirm how much your fundraising program contributes to your mission. And you know that with your net revenue. Your budget is also a communication tool for your board and your boss. It provides them with the right amount of high-level information along with your fundraising plan, and that helps demonstrate to the board what it is that you do to raise money and what it costs to raise that money. So while they may not understand a lot about fundraising, the budget is an added tool to inspire confidence that you can raise what you've projected at the costs that you've estimated. So yeah, budgets are pretty darn important, I'd say. So now you've got your plan, you've got your budget, but how do you communicate that? So if you're moving on from the plan and the budget, what's next? You need to pitch to the board to get their buy-in. So I famously, early in my career, worked really hard, developed a budget, was really proud of it, and delivered it to the board. They asked a bunch of questions and ultimately said, what does the executive director think of it? The executive director was not at that meeting as it happened. The executive director hadn't looked at it. And I was left with the board saying, well, a pretty important person hasn't reviewed the plan, so they wouldn't approve it. I was embarrassed. I went away. I was a bit mad that the executive director hadn't looked at it. It wasn't that I necessarily was hiding it from him. But anyway, such is life. So I got him to look at it, got reshown to the board, and they approved it. That was a painful and embarrassing lesson that I needed to have other people involved in that process. So the painful lesson I learned is that I can't do it by myself. And well, it's not to say I can't, because I did do a good plan, but I should not have done it by myself. I'm not supposed to, I wasn't supposed to do it alone. I need people to see it, to ask questions, to check my numbers, to socialize it with other board members. And those people become your allies. And all of that work starts well before the board meeting. So you make sure the executive director has seen it and agrees with it. You make sure the finance committee or the treasurer approves of the numbers and your plan to get there. You make sure that the fundraising lead on the board has her hand in finalizing it. And why do you do all those things? Because the board members trust each other. And when more than one of them have seen it and approves the plan, they're all more likely to support it. They are peers and you are a staff person. So listen, we don't make the rules. We just like to share the information so that you can knock it out of the park the next time you make the pitch. So let me recap. I've talked to you about why you need to have a fundraising plan and what value it has. I've talked to you about the budget and why it's important. And I talked about the importance of pitching it to your board. So why am I sharing all of this? Because a lot of people need help, and at the Fundraising Lab, we are here to help. We want to help you raise more money for your organization's mission. We want you to be more confident in raising money. We want you to have the tools and templates you need to meet your financial goals. And we have an 8-week course starting Monday, October 17th, that will lead you step by step through this entire process. You'll have a peer group, each of whom is working through the same information. You'll have weekly questions and answers with me. It's a great opportunity to ask any fundraising questions that you have, and you'll get access to videos and self-paced learning content that will only take you between 1 to 3 hours a week. So join us on this 8-week fundraising journey of learning and action starting on Monday, October 17th. Find out more by visiting www.fundraisinglab.ca/planningwithpurpose.